My name's Chris.
And I'm Christy.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and we've got a hell of a lot to discuss tonight.
I know, plus we're still buzzing from our little chat with a certain Elena Duggan today.
Yep, so if you haven't checked that out, go back through the archives and have a listen to our interview with Elena Duggan.
Oh, she's just so generous and so inspiring. Like, I know people say that, but I actually mean it.
Yeah, it's literally, we recorded the interview today, and we've both sort of been buzzing ever since, which was fun.
So much fun.
So I've recorded a few podcasts today, so my voice is holding in there just so we'll get through this. So we've got a lot to talk about. We've got tonight, obviously, we had the battle for not immunity, but a direct pass through to finals week.
Yes, don't pass go. Oh no, pass go, collect $200.
Exactly. It was like you just got the advance your token to go.
I know, tonight was actually an advantage.
It really was.
Like, this whole week has been actual advantages.
And the interesting part is, who's had the advantage now twice this week?
Arum.
This he's on a run. He is on an absolute charge. But before we get to that, we have to go back to last night.
What? Nothing happened last night. I've blocked it out completely.
Now, those of you on social media fairly regularly will know what a trauma last night's episode was to the internet at large. The viewing audience at large. It was nerve-wracking. It was hard-in-mouth stuff. Unless you were Diana, who cruised through it. You barely noticed that she existed, and it was perfect. And my comment at the end of the challenge was, well, you see, Eloise's has some flaws in it, and Ben has some flaws in it. But they're really human, and that's really shown the human side. Whereas, Diana, yours is perfect. You don't need the show anymore. You can go home.
Yeah. You surpassed what we can teach you. Run, my student.
You can learn no more. Fly and be free.
The student becomes the master.
So we won't even bother to recount what happened with Diana's, because the answer was she did it absolutely perfectly and charged right through the
dark horse, that woman.
So that left it between Gaston and Eloise. Now, I know.
I can't do this.
It's okay. I will lead you through the valley of the shadow of doubt. I did last night. I actually, and this is 100% true.
Molecule.
This is 100% true.
Okay.
Last night, when it got to the point of Gaston plating up, I walked away from the TV.
Like, I can't watch this.
I went and made a coffee, and I looked at the coffee machine, and I studied the coffee machine intently.
I asked him for a hot chocolate. He decided to make it in a saucepan.
I made it completely from scratch. I went and boiled the milk, and I made it on the stovetop and everything, simply because I didn't want to have to watch what was going on the screen, because I really didn't think I could survive it. So we began with Eloise making something that... Well, first of all, we began with Kylie Millar. We have to say that. I greatly enjoyed seeing Kylie. I loved Kylie in her series, and was very pleased to see that she was back until I saw what she produced.
She's sadomasochistic, isn't she?
This had to be her moment of, now it's my turn, you bastards.
She's got a great niche, line of work if she wants to go into it, which is like cooking masochism or sadism, like just setting up tasks that will just drive people bonkers.
So I had this thing at one point last night. Was I see this bark? Yes, you know what? It looks so much like bark. It is bark. None of this dish is edible. I've just decided to mess with everybody. I haven't made anything edible.
I just grabbed this wrapper from the bin.
Well, at one point, she did comment on as she came into the kitchen, and she said, "Now, and the leaves are from the MasterChef garden." And I like the idea that she hadn't actually finished the dish on the way in, and just went, "What? Oh, that's right, the garden."
I would have been less about calling it the nest and more about like the trash heap from Fraggle Rock. Because it just looks so cool. It's just like, the trash heap has spoken.
Yeah, I would have called it the trash heap from Fraggle Rock too.
But in a good way. Like,
I know,
I'm not talking about like any old horrible trash heap.
No, the Fraggle Rock one.
Yeah, which is fucking wise.
Get your cares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play in the MasterChef kitchen. So she presents this dish, and you can just see the look on and then she's starting to run through it, and the moment where she runs through the yolk, everybody in the kitchen just looks at her as if to say, you got to be kidding me.
It's like she ate a Cadbury cream egg and went, I can make something torturously hard with this.
Well, I'm putting my idea out there. I've had the perfect idea for what someone should do, and I hope you market it. Whoever picks this up. Gaston, I'm looking at you. Just to get over the trauma of last night. What you need to do, white chocolate egg, caramel yolk, and then churros a bit like the fingers of toast.
Ooh.
And you dunk it into the caramel, and you get the white chocolate and the caramel with the fingers of toast or the churros, and that's a dessert.
Oh, I love churros.
Anybody who comes up with this design, I'll take 10%. Look,
This isn't your own personal Shark Tank.
want to bet?
Did you know there used to be, I don't know if it still exists, but there used to be a line you could call to pitch ideas to.
Was it a line where they could just steal your ideas and make money off them?
I think essentially yes. Apparently you would get reimbursed at some point.
Apparently you'd get reimbursed at some point.
Because I've seen it like in the back of a newspaper or something.
Well, they're always accurate.
And there are, you know.
You know, those back of those magazines used to sell X-ray glasses.
I know.
And we all know that they work perfectly.
Visits from lovely ladies who just wanted to be your friend. They're always lonely and looking for friendship.
And they're only looking for friendship. That's it.
Yeah.
They'll know in a minute. They're looking for friendship. Anyway, moving on. So Eloise began, and when you had to do that caramel, and you had to do the panna cotta in the middle, and they're all mixing up their panna cottas, and Eloise's looked vaguely like what she'd tried to plate up the night before. And
I'm surprised you didn't have some leftover bloody
except it was
pate to throw at it.
except it was more solid.
Yes.
You know, inside the bag, it was more solid than it had been on the plate. If you'd been able, Eloise, to scoop what was inside that bag out and plate it, you probably would have gone through. So, but yeah, it was.
So I can't do this without.
It's
just,
horrible.
Like, being sad.
Look, it was a horrible. I couldn't watch it, and I had absolutely no dog in the fight because we loved everybody in it. So I had no dog in the fight.
It's killing your darlings. It's like put everyone up and shoot them down. Someone's going to die.
So between the not being able to do the yolks and those yolks, I think the people will be having nightmares about egg yolks. I felt, and the thing that really reinforced how really focused you had to be on this challenge, after they finish everything, and we know that, you know, there was the issues with the honeycomb that both Eloise and Gaston had.
And Gaston just
Gaston made a brilliant second one and then forgot it. And Eloise's just didn't work the way that it was supposed to work. So they both made mistakes on honeycomb, which of all things you wouldn't expect a honeycomb mistake, but that goes to show the pressure. But it was after the time was up, and it was when they had to then extract the yolk out of the egg yolk.
No, it was even pulling
and inject it with caramel.
Even getting that yolk out of the fucking cure.
And watching... It was watching Eloise's hands while she was trying to do the extraction. And she's trying so hard to just get it right, and her hands were shaking so hard. I thought she was going to actually flick the egg yolk and hit Kylie in the face. No, she was like, shake, 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 shake. Oh, sorry, Kylie, I didn't mean to hit you in the face with that egg yolk.
2 seconds later, it's turned into scrambled egg.
And Adam Lior put it beautifully last night on Twitter, where he went, it's good to see that someone's going to go out of MasterChef on something that is not really a thing. You know, the idea of extracting yolk and injecting caramel. It's not a thing.
It is after last night.
Kylie Millar's made it a thing, and I wish she hadn't, really.
Yeah, everyone's going to be injecting their yolk.
No.
They're not yoking about it. They're going to do it.
Oh.
I know. I forced that pun in there.
You did.
See my crowbar?
Yeah, I did see your crowbar. You crowbarred that beautifully. So the judging happens, and if it's a presentation judgment, Gaston's going home. If it's a flavour judgment, Eloise is going home. This is
I'm
where
surprised Gaston got any egg up. Like he's like
you're surprised. I think he's shocked.
He was like Edward. I wanted to say Scissorhands, but it's not Edward from Twilight when he's doing Bella and breaks the bed and stuff because he's got to learn to be gentle.
I'll have to take your word for that. I've never seen it.
If you're breaking a bed, okay, let's just take a little tangent.
Was that why it was the series was named the way it was? Breaking Dawn. Was it originally Breaking Bed?
Yes. I mean, let's just suspend disbelief here. I mean, it is a world full of vampires that sparkle.
Disbelief suspended.
And werewolves and stuff. But consistency, right? Like, for 4 of the 4 books, right, this dude's been walking around with his superhuman strength that, like, is he, like, having to be consciously gentle so he doesn't break everything? Because suddenly, like, when he's doing it, he's, like, breaking shit.
Was there a woman called Dawn?
No.
Did he break her?
I think he would have broken Bella. Maybe it should have been called Breaking Bella.
They would have called it Breaking Bad, but they would have got sued.
Yeah. But I just went, like, surely. Like he's breaking the bed and shit. I haven't gotten past this. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
So what we'll do is we will debate this further on our Sparkles podcast.
Sorry.
Coming in summer of 2017. Sparkles.
The podcast.
The podcast.
This
all
is the
about,
skin of a killer.
because all that glistens is deadly. Anyway, moving on. So we got to this point where it became flavour versus look, and this comes back to my consistency point the other day. To be honest with you, I looked at the 2 dishes. I sort of thought that Gaston was going home, and then when they judged him, they said that basically he'd actually nailed the flavour on everything, even though it looked like crap.
And he got the most caramel in his egg.
The egg was the best one in terms of the caramel. Everything else was the best in terms of he'd done the best job of cooking. He'd done the best job of cooking things. He'd just done the worst job of plating it.
Yeah, but fucking, like that was horrid having to do, like, this teepee.
How hard is it to build an original Aboriginal tent embassy out of parsnip chips over the top of a cured egg yolk full of caramel? What part of your everyday life does this not fulfill?
Obviously, Diana's got that happening.
Apparently, Diana does. And I commented to Eloise on Twitter. I said to her, you know, you're never going to have to do this. On the plus side, you'll never have to do this again. She goes, "What, you don't do this every day?" And I went, "No, I use a funnel and a tube." But again, the idea, and I think if you're Eloise, while it's horrendously disappointing to go out this close to the end, the fact that you went out on that, you can at least point to people and go,
what kind of chance did I
had
have?
to fill an egg yolk with caramel.
It wasn't like you're just cooking eggs.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jess.
You're not going to go. You're not going to go. You're not going to go out and say it was an egg challenge.
No.
You're not going to go out and be able to say that you didn't cook an egg properly. Again, we're not. Sorry, Jess, to bring that up. We know bad memories, but
I mean, this year has all been about egg as kryptonite, hasn't it? I mean,
it has really been the kryptonite dish. I was actually surprised that the soufflés tonight, and we're about to get to the soufflés, but the soufflés didn't seem to have too many major issues.
No.
So let's move on to that, because we need to move.
Oh, no, we need to mention Eloise is opening up a pirate-themed dessert bar.
We do need to mention this.
Like, there is some light at the end of this horrible, horrible Eloise tunnel.
And
pirate-themed dessert bar.
And it's a wonderful idea, and I saw some people say, I hope you open this in South Australia, where you're from. And my claim to you is that
Sydney's better.
Sarah's pointed out a number of times, Sydney needs more of this, and Sydney needs more of that, and Sydney needs more pirate-themed dessert bars.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to say what city we live in, because that would be wrong and we don't want to slant your vote. But let me just say that Sydney needs more.
You got 2 guaranteed patrons at least.
We will travel all of the way to Sydney. We're not going to say where we live.
No.
But if you put it in, say, Sydney, we would travel.
Yeah. Oh, you know what has opened up in Sydney? A Mjolnir-themed bar, which is like a modern Norse kind of longhouse.
See, again, a Norse bar. I think that's a really good sign. I think that you could do that and have the pirate-themed sort of whiskey bar, dessert bar next to the Norse bar. So Sydney, city of culture, adventure and excitement. Sydney, we're open for business unless you're in the CBD between the hours of... No. Anyway, with that in mind, let's move on to tonight, shall we? Because we had to say farewell to Eloise and we had to say, don't do that again, Ben. Anyway.
You're killing us.
That was painful. So let's instead talk about tonight. Now, tonight we begin with souffle.
Yes, and the first thing I think of is Clara Oswald, which is everyone's favourite Doctor Who companion.
And the first thing I think of is what I tweeted out tonight at the very start. Oh, you need to make a perfect souffle. Ask Olivia McMahon. Which I'd like to thank the MasterChef Twitter account for responding and asking Olivia, so tell us your secrets. After removing the Bake Off AU hashtag, it must be said, they did take that out before they then said to Olivia, tell us your secrets.
I mean, if they go to, the grand finale, they could probably have a check of those secrets.
They could watch somebody making something going, no, doing it again, focusing on the souffle and knocking it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
So still the best souffle. I know these were good tonight, but still the best souffle I've seen made on television is Olivia in the grand final of Bake Off. And if you haven't seen it, go out of your way to find it and see it. Foxtel's replaying them all. I think they're almost up to it. So go and have a look. Now, Arum had one of my favourite sentences tonight where he said, I don't regularly souffle. Now, is it a dance now, Arum? Is it a fashion style?
I think it's a standard question on Tinder these days.
Do you souffle?
Not regularly.
Do you souffle? No, not regularly. Swipe. Now this is where he decided to go with something that was very retro in flavour. And I mean, to be fair, it's a souffle. Everything's a little bit retro.
Prunes and an almanac.
Armagnac.
No, I want him to just play.
Rand McNally?
Yeah.
He produces a Rand McNally. He just puts it down. What are you doing? I'm cooking my souffle on an almanac. Yes. I don't think you've got the hang of this, Arum. I know what I'm doing. So, Eliza did passion fruit, and she said that passion fruit is my favourite flavour of souffle, indicating she eats them a lot.
Well, she did audition with a souffle.
She did audition with a souffle, as you put it, softly.
Yes.
A souffle. A souffle, yep. So she did audition with a souffle, and I like the passion fruit is my favourite flavour of souffle. Gave me the indication that, like at home, she has them lined up on the bench.
Well, maybe this is where Arum's, I don't often souffle comes from, because Eliza's souffling all over the place.
Eliza souffles over the place for everybody. Yeah. So Eliza souffles for everybody, and they've all been over and obviously visited Eliza at some point, and Eliza's been souffling everywhere, and Arum's like, no, none for me. I don't really souffle.
I'm only an occasional souffleur.
I'm an occasional souffleur. It's good for my health.
I'm a social souffleur.
What do you say on the census? Do you drink? Nah. Do you smoke? Do you souffle socially? And then Tamara. Now, I've been defending Tamara. What the hell was that flavour tonight? I don't know what it was.
What's your souffle?
What's your souffle regurgitator? I don't know what and no one seemed to know what the flavour was. You've got goat's cheese with basil and raspberries, but with a bechamel base. Is it savoury? Is it sweet?
If you take the bechamel out, it's a great topping for pancakes or little, what are those things? Pikelets.
Yeah, so the goat's cheese and...
Yeah, and the basil and the raspberries, that'd be a great topping for pancakes.
Yeah, the basil and the raspberries. But the other thing too was it was a very wet mixture then, because there's a lot of liquid involved.
Yes, well, she had the bloody souffle police around her bench,
didn't she? Wow, the souffle police were really... And
it's like there's, nothing going on down the cop shop.
Surely their siren would go, woo, to indicate rising and falling. But anyway, they all stood around and they actually asked her really good questions. Are you sure with that flavour? Is it a savoury or a sweet? What are you going for?
How is the raspberry going to react inside?
Yeah, is the raspberry going to react really well? And that was something that Elena talked about on the podcast today, where she talked about that idea of the asking questions, and you've got to pay attention to the questions that you're asked.
And work out if they're playing devil's advocate.
Or if they really want you to think about your profile. Tamara decided for me to be stubborn for the sake of being stubborn. There's a way to do it where you're being stubborn because I know what I'm doing, I've got this. And Tamara was just like, I don't know, I'm just going to do it. And but it wasn't I'm just going to do it and I think this will work. She didn't seem to take on board what they were saying about the two different flavours. And she's like, no, they work perfectly. And they didn't.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of, how can I put it, care factor that you have to go into these particular competition, not competition, but these particular what's this thing called? I can't get it.
TV shows, challenges.
No, challenges. You got to go into these challenges, okay? That way you're not going to be eliminated, and you're actually going for something better. You know what I mean? Like you're going for an advantage, and this was an actual advantage. And it's like there's a certain care factor you have to have, because you can just go and go, whatever, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm not going to go through to next week off the back of this challenge. But then that puts you into, the risk of going home later on in the week.
And we got... Now, there's a sentence that I have said the entire series is bad news. And Eliza got to utter it tonight. I take my eyes off them for a second. Now, every single time you say, I take my eyes off them for a second, the next cutback is that sting, followed by whatever you're looking at goes wrong. Now, I understand it was legitimately, and if you watched it on the show tonight, it was legitimately...
A second. She turned around, grabbed a spatula and turned back, and boom.
Now, my only point on that is, it was just a second. But you're watching egg whites for a souffle. Don't take your eyes off them, especially not when it's this idea of going all the way through writing on it.
Yeah.
And it's a timing thing. So, and she makes a lot of souffles.
Yeah.
So just focus. Like, you can get your spatula in a second. Just make sure your eggs are there first and then get your spatula.
Yeah.
Or get your spatula before. That's the other option.
Yeah, but, it's the master
It's the pressure.
kitchen, and you got people from the gantry, as Eloise called them, guardians of the gantry. Drax up there.
Thank you, Gaston.
Thank you, Gaston.
My, what a guy. And it was good to see him a bit more relaxed tonight than last night, where I thought legitimately when they went time's up at the end of his challenge, I thought he was going to punch a hole through a wall. Or pick a bench up and throw it. Not like, like a spoon or a bench. Just a whole bench over his head, Gaston smash, throwing things.
At least a mix master, just one-handed mix master through the wall, out into the Vespa.
And Kylie looks at George and goes, my, what a guy. Into the Vespa, which again, I've got a little bit more confirmation that we think it works. So I'm still hopeful. If someone at MasterChef can show me video footage of the Vespa riding somewhere, greatly appreciate it.
It'd be awesome if they go back, right, and for the end of after the winner's been announced, is that they pan out through the doors and it's just this random dude comes along, jumps on the Vespa and just putters away.
I prefer the idea of everyone.
Trent jumps on the Vespa.
Okay, Trent, I know it's probably already been filmed because these things are filmed way ahead in advance. So it's already been filmed. But go back in time, Trent. You are a ninja. Go back in time, jump on the Vespa for us in the grand final and steal it. Right off into the sunset with a Vespa. No one will spot you. You're a ninja. Anyway.
Maybe the winner gets the Vespa.
That was the other idea. They get that... What? Rather than the big MasterChef plate, they get the front wheel of the Vespa. Lock it under the car.
When they open up their new restaurant or whatever it is, there's this Vespa wheel on the wall.
Let's go and check in with the winner of last season, and they cut to their new restaurant, and there's a Vespa parked out the front like it's MasterChef. So Arum had 12 minutes to cook all of his soufflés, which ended up being 2. And then at that minute he looks and goes, "Oh,
whoops.
That whole prune mixture I was going to put into them. Yeah, forgot that." So he puts it in with the Armagnac sauce and made a sauce out of it. So now I've been keeping a score, and we need to check in on the latest now. So we cross over to the stadium that is MasterChef for the latest update in Eliza versus the judges. Well, here we are today, and it's Eliza versus the judges, and George is seeming to back her into a corner now. What are you doing, Eliza? I'm having a look. What are you doing, Eliza? Having a look! 4-1, Eliza. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very proud day. Eliza seems to have a commanding lead. Let's cross back to our friends at the Washing Up podcast. So, yeah, Eliza's now 4-1 up. She can't be beaten.
No.
The way that even George is like, what are you doing, Eliza? Having a look. What are you doing, Eliza? Having a look!
They're going to be the new Channel 10 odd couple.
I just wanted once to see Eliza, yell at George. And George yelled at Eliza, and Eliza just grabs him and throws him in an oven.
Be like a
Closes the door, and they're like, Eliza, let him out. And she's like, are you going to leave my bench? He'll keep cooking baked baklava. And then he's like, okay, let George out.
Maybe this is why Channel 10's gone into receivership because of
They've got to pay for bodyguards
damages.
for the judges. Bodyguards for the judges. Because Eliza walks into the kitchen. At the start of the day, Eliza walks into the kitchen, glares at them and goes, I'm on to all of you.
I know where you live and I'm a trained nurse. You're fucked.
I can kill you, but I can heal. So Eliza's then get tasted first. Put your hand up. I liked that part, actually. That was quite good. When they did it in Bake Off, they staggered the starts so they can judge each of them.
Just a little handy tidbit. You know, the most common serial killers that are female are nurses. It's called the Angel of Death syndrome.
Yep, and that's also my theory around Jack the Ripper. We'll come back to that later when I do my history podcast. This time, I do actually have one of those. So, brief history.
More you know.
A brief history of everything. Check us out on iTunes. So Eliza's got tasted first, and the really cruel part about this was they tasted them and then just walked away. No feedback. We're just walking away. Then Tamara is next, and they taste those, and they ran away without a word. And I've never seen Tamara look more confused in my life. They ate it, ran away, and she just got this look on her face like, what was that? What?
Feedback.
And then Arum was last, and they're going crazy about Arum's. Oh, the rise is perfect. This looks amazing. And then they start scooping out, and they go, Arum, where's the prune? And it's like,
I forgot it.
I forgot it. And they're like, so basically what you're telling us is it's a vanilla souffle. And they're like, yeah, but the sauce, and as they put the sauce on it, basically what they ended up, and what they then talked about, which they thought was the best, and Shannon was still confused about whether he was eating an entree or a dessert when it came to Tamara's.
A lot of people on Twitter were querying whether or not, because he did keep out the prunes, that's why he got the rise, because the other two actually had their
it probably would have impacted the mixture, and it probably would have been a heavier mixture, so that would have potentially had a bit of.
Plus, there's extra moisture, and you've got the steam coming out of the fruits then. So
yeah, I mean, like the raspberry with Tamara's, that just made it really sort of wet and gooey. And Arum is through. Now, you're not mishearing us. Arum is through. He has been on fire. And then Arum, then they go, that's okay, Arum.
Arum is on fire.
Indeed he is.
Yeah.
So they then cut to Arum and they go, that's okay, Arum. You've only got to beat a professional chef now. And it's like, yeah, no problems.
It's like, my voodoo is working for me.
Federico Zanaletto. Now, I've butchered that name. Gary, on the other hand, can pronounce it beautifully. So every time he got the chance...
Federico Semolina.
He did. Zanaletto. So, but every time Gary got the chance to say his name, he didn't just say Federico. He said his full name. Just to prove he can do it.
Like, yeah, Gaz, we get it,
Gary. Now, the challenge tonight was that Arum got 10 ingredients, Federico got 10 ingredients.
I mean, Federico Semifredo.
Yeah, we do. So, the idea was, and I thought Shannon Bennett actually came up with something quite...
Well, it was proving he could count tonight.
He came up with... I mean, he was proving, as you said last night, he couldn't count to, the other night, you couldn't count to 8. Apparently, he can count to 10. Actually, he can count to 9.
Yeah.
Because he said the last one's up to you. He didn't count 10. So he can count to 9. He's proven you wrong by 1.
Yeah.
But what we saw tonight in the selection was Shannon Bennett being crafty, where he looked at Arum and he goes, you don't have to use all 10. You just have to pick 10. Now, what Shannon was trying to say to Arum was, screw him over. Give him nothing.
Yeah. You might only want to cook with the beef and the celeriac.
I would have taken the mussels while I'm at it. I wouldn't have left him anything remotely protein.
Yeah.
Just everything. I'll take it all. I'll have everything. You can have a whole pile of oils and vinegars and
chilies.
And you can enjoy that. So Arum then decided to keep to his strength and do a seared steak, which is clever. Again, this is not about, being... This isn't the invention test.
No.
This is not about being ultra inventive. This is about doing something that gets you through.
Yes.
So at this point in time, perfectly okay, perfectly fine with his decision. Do keep your strengths.
Yep.
The other thing that he
Arum's
did...
good with meat.
The other thing that he did...
Yeah.
Pernod sauce. Puree sauce. Now,
That was an interesting choice.
he was following, as I put it on Twitter, the Mary Berry Great British Bake Off school of thought, which is get Mary drunk before she judges you.
Yeah.
So by using like an absinthe-based sauce, just get them plastered.
Boozy is better.
Always.
And it made a pretty flambe as well.
It did, and when he tilted the pan back and got the flambe going.
Pretty.
And then Shannon Bennett out of nowhere goes, "You're the Puree King." And I'm like... And Arum was brilliant with it, because Arum goes to the camera, "If apparently I'm the Puree King." And like, he's not falling for your crap.
No, he's not getting carried away with it. Oh, I must puree the meat now, for I am the Puree King.
I am the Puree King. And it is a glorious thing to be a Puree King. So... I've got this idea of him now swinging off a rope off the gantry onto the
puree of Penzance.
I'm so doing a poster. Anyway, so then what we got from Federico was we got a tortelli, so mussels, Jerusalem artichoke and chili. Now, again, we have the man who normally cooks really good steak making a steak and the Italian chef making pasta. I wonder if the judges can tell.
No, you
Now,
can't.
Arum's big concern. Now, I was over making a coffee.
Yes.
And Arum's big concern, he said, and I quote him here, "The meat juice is going to come out." Now, I'm at a coffee machine in the kitchen. And it's grinding the beans, and so there's noise going on. And all I hear from Arum is, "For me, Jesus is going to come out."
Well, he is. He's his saviour.
And what happened was that Jesus indeed did come out on the plate in the form of the juices that were going to come out, did indeed come out.
There was like a little cross of a celeriac.
And there was a cross of celeriac on top of the steak. So juices has arisen.
Oh.
Juices has arisen, apparently. Now, we got to the judging. Federico's going, it might be a bit too simple.
I didn't garnish it.
I was going to garnish it with this and this and this, but I didn't really have any time. And you can just tell that, like, Federico, he made a really good dish. It looked great. But Federico was sort of like,
Whatever.
Like, a lot of these other chefs are hyper-competitive.
They think their whole reputation is on the line.
It's like those people. It's like those people in the 1990s who went on Iron Chef and legitimately their whole kitchen felt let down if they lost. And this was a real thing, by the way, in Iron Chef in Japan when they were trying to get people to do the Iron Chef jobs. A lot of chefs turned them down because they felt they would be embarrassed and ashamed if they lost.
Ooh.
It's Iron fucking Chef. And then people who competed against them wouldn't compete originally because of the fact they didn't want to be humiliated on a TV cooking show. So there is that level of competition coming between all of the different judges and all of the different judges and all the different contestants. So it's a potential risk that you've got to weigh up when going into this. But what we saw here from Federico instead was,
Whatever.
he came over, looked at Arum's dish, and he went, "That looks professional."
My favourite part tonight was when Shannon's gone, "Ooh, I like those muscles you've got there," and he's gone like, "Thank you," and I'm waiting for Shannon to go, "No, I meant you, Ben."
And Gaston goes, "Why, thank you very much, Shannon." And then Shannon looked down the barrel of the camera and goes, "My, what a guy." So tonight we had Arum's first, which was beef, celeriac, black pudding, macadamia, and Purno. It was bleeding everywhere. My comment was, all you need to do was call it the bleeding cow, and suddenly it becomes gourmet. And you go, I meant it. I meant
Paddock
it like
to
that.
plate. More paddock in the plate.
Paddock to plate. This is the real paddock to plate. And they love that sauce. Gary's a bandit for a sauce. As we saw with Federico, because he was just about drinking Federico's sauce.
I thought Federico actually had it because of the sauce.
The way that Gary reacted to the sauce, I thought that Federico had it, because Gary ate the food and went, "Oh yeah," and then basically picked up the container and went, "Oh yeah, that's the stuff," and just sort of tipped the container up and started drinking sauce.
He was essentially drinking butter and mussel water.
And I actually put in my notes, Gary loves the sauce. Federico wins this easily. and they clearly know which one is Arum's because you had to know which one was Arum's. However, Arum wins.
Yeah.
No. Seriously. Arum wins.
I don't think he could believe it himself.
Arum commented on Twitter tonight when he got into the challenge. He's like, is this really happening? And the MasterChef account went, yes, it is. And his response was, oh.
See, now I'm convinced my niece has picked it. She's like, I was like, who's going to win? And I showed her the contestant. She's like, him and maybe her. So it's going to be between Arum and Kylie, apparently, according to Taylor.
Near a bench by a mixer, there's a hole in the ground where a young man called Arum cooks around and around. I said I was going to work in the riddle by Nick Kershaw tonight, and bam!
I did think you was going to do it.
Second encore! So Arum goes through, and well done, Arum. He blitzed that tonight. It's been his week.
It was your opportunity to take, and you did.
It's been his week.
Yep.
So now tomorrow night they've got a service challenge, which looks insane and looks like they might all get killed. So good luck with that one.
There's a pile of crayfish there that I saw, if memory serves me.
If memory serves.
Or mussels, something shiny and shell-like.
Something shiny and shell-like. So you'll have to look out for the shiny...
You end up being prunes.
Nothing more disappointing than thinking you got shellfish and you've only got prunes. So with that in mind, and given that my voice is currently struggling through the end of this, I think we might need to wrap this up.
Alrighty.
So my name's still Chris.
And I'm still Christy.
And we will catch you all on Thursday night.
Ciao.